Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. Before we get started, a couple hard blocks and a soft block will likely be handy. And we're also going to do some standing poses, balance poses. So if you like to practice near a wall space or something like that, then go for it. When you're ready, we'll get started down on the back in a reclined butterfly shape. But if you'd prefer to start off in a seated meditation or child's pose or something like that, then you can do that as well. So if you're joining me on the back, you can come to lying down, soles of the feet together, knees apart, maybe some props to support the legs. Maybe the soft block is a pillow. And if you're coming down onto the back, then find the version of the shape that feels the most comfortable, the one that you can settle into the most easily. Feel free to adjust where the feet are relative to the pelvis, bring them closer or a little further away. And if at any point the shape stops working for you, then feel free to extend the legs or to change it up altogether. Arms maybe by the sides, you can take them overhead or have the hands on the body. If it feels okay to close down the eyes, otherwise find an unmoving spot to gently gaze at. As you find your stillness, and take a moment just to check in with the body and take a scan from the feet to the head just to notice how everything's doing today. You don't need to change anything about it, but take a moment to notice your breath here as well. And when you feel ready to, you might start to slow down the breath here, giving a little more space to each inhale and exhale. don't have to move until you feel ready to. And when you feel ready, you can reach down and gently guide the knees together. Maybe taking the feet wide, resting the knees together, the hands on the body for a few deep breaths. And then extending the legs long down the mat. You can move your blocks out of the way. Scoot the hips over to the right, and then take the feet towards the bottom left. Arms can extend up overhead and then reach up towards the top left. And find a version of this that feels comfortable. So if it helps to cross right ankle over left, right wrist over left, then you might do that. If you need to use your props a little differently or bend the elbows, maybe turn the head. Finding your crescent moon shape and that deep stretch through the whole right side of the body. Uncrossing the legs and walking them to midline, same with the upper body. And then hips over to the left-hand side, feet to the bottom right, arms to the top right. You can mirror whatever you did on the first side, but modify if the side needs a slightly different expression. And keep that right hip heavy and notice that stretch for the left-hand side. Gently uncrossing back to midline. From here, bend the knees, bring the knees into the chest, and then we'll reach between them for happy baby. So it's still early in practice. You might just be holding on to the shins or the ankles, the feet if you have space. Maybe give yourself a rock side to side. If it helps to circle a little bit or do anything like that, then go for it. And keep the low back grounded to the floor, even if the feet need to come down a little bit for that. As you're ready, gently release the feet back down to the floor. We'll keep the right foot down and lift the left leg, left ankle over the right knee. So, like a thread of the needle, you can stay right here. It's still early in practice. You could also brace against that left knee a little bit, just mindful of hip, ankle, and knee. If you feel like you have space, you can reach through, maybe catch hold of that right hamstring, maybe of the right shin or knee. Make sure the left knee feels adequately supported, so if flexing the left foot helps it feel more stable, then go for it. Notice that stretch to the outer left hip. Find your breath here. Releasing as you're ready, lowering one foot and then the other. We'll set up for the second side. Right ankle over left knee. Take a moment to check in here, see what this side feels like. And if you're taking it further, you can reach through when you're ready. And then gently releasing this side as well. And once you've uncrossed the legs, collect both your knees into the chest, wrap the arms around them, and give yourself a hug. Little rock side to side. And then maybe hands behind the knees, start to rock up and down the length of the spine. Mindful of the neck here, do this a couple of times. Massage those long muscles that run along the back. When you're ready, build up a little momentum, come up through a seat, and then we'll swing the legs around to come to a tabletop position. And from your tabletop position, you can set yourself up, hands roughly under the shoulders, knees roughly underneath the hips. And from here, we'll extend the right leg straight behind. You can work with just the leg, or you can add on the opposite arm, the left arm, forward. And take a deep inhale here, stretch from the right heel to the left fingers, and then knee towards the elbow as you exhale. Inhale, stretch, and exhale. And keep going. Last two. Last one. Inhale, stretch. Lower just the left hand and then lower that right foot all the way to the back of the mat so the knee stays lifted. And then kickstand the left foot out towards the left and roll down that right heel to the floor. You can reach the right arm towards the ceiling. So a modified side plank, you can stay right here or think about lifting that right leg off the floor. Foot is strong like you're kicking the wall behind, and take a few deep breaths. Last couple. Awesome. Your next exhale, lower the right hand down, that right foot, and then unkickstand the left one. Now from here, we'll keep the left knee bent. Take the right foot across the mat over to the left. You might need to negotiate your space a little bit. You can take it as far to the left as you like. And then if you like, you can add on with the upper body. So maybe lowering onto that left elbow. And you can start to walk the right arm over towards the left as well until you can find a side stretch through the whole right hand side. Sometimes what happens is that right hip starts to open up. So see if you can keep the pelvis relatively level side to side. Awesome. Gently making your way back out to center. Bring the feet together, separate the knees a little wider, and then take the hips towards the heels, and we'll come and find child's pose. Any expression of child's pose, if you need to add in some props, then go for it. If you need a little movement to help you settle in, then do that. Maybe swaying the hips a little bit, maybe rocking the head. Notice your breath here. Full inhales, full exhales. Check in, and when you feel ready, make your way back to tabletop. Hands are under the shoulders, knees under the hips. If at any point the wrists start to feel sensitive, you can also work from a fist. This time we'll send the right leg, or the left leg rather, straight behind, maybe the right arm out towards the front. Inhale here, stretch, and knee to elbow, exhale. And keep going with your breath at your pace. Last couple. Last one. Re-extend with your inhale. Lower the left foot to the back of the mat. Lower the right hand. Kickstand the right foot out towards the right. Drop the left heel. And then reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Modified side plank. You can stay right here or lift the left leg. Don't worry about how high the leg is lifting, but keep the leg strong and breathe. Last couple. Awesome. Lower the left foot, the left hand, unkickstand the right knee. And then take the left foot over towards the right, any amount. Maybe lowering the right elbow and start to walk the left hand over towards the right as well. Notice the hips. If the left hip is lifting, keep it nice and low and find that stretch for the whole left side. And then as you're ready, gently unraveling back to center, making your way to child's pose, knees wide or knees together. Find whichever expression feels best. Add in any support that you need, and then settle yourself in as you're ready. only when you feel ready to, making your way back to a tabletop position. And from here, you can take the hands slightly forward, grip the finger pads into the mat to help stabilize the wrists, and then tuck the toes under, lift the knees, and we'll come and find downward facing dog. It might feel nice to stretch out the backs of the legs a little bit, or any other movement that you like here. And set up the proportions of your shape if you want to play with where the hands are relative to the feet or relative to each other. Find the version of down dog that feels the most stable. And keep the hands and the feet pressing the floor away. Keep the hips nice and high. And keep breathing deeply. And from your down dog, take a deep inhale and a deep sigh. And again. Last one. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, start to walk the hands towards the back of the mat until you find your forward fold at the back. Generous bend to the knees. You can stay deeply folded if the low back needs something a little different. Maybe you're working from a halfway lift. Maybe you're taking hands to opposite elbows, adding a little weight to the torso. Stillness, or even here if you like to rock or pedal it out. Be wherever you need to be. Bringing the hands onto the legs. And slowly, with a deep bend to the knees, start to walk the hands up. Let's start to round all the way up to stand. And when you arrive, if you feel a little lightheaded, you might take the arms up towards the ceiling. And take a few deep breaths here. Let everything settle. And then releasing the arms down to your sides. Lift and spread the toes. Lower them with a little distance in between. And settle the shoulders down the back. Keep the chest nice and broad. The arms heavy. The back of the neck long. As you're ready, you wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe roll the head side to side a few times. Awesome. Before we go any further, if you're using hard blocks, just set one up near the top of the mat just so that it's handy when we need it. So we're going to start off at the back of the mat and we'll do a sequence of 3 standing poses. So again, if you like to be close to a wall and you don't have to be stepping forward every time, you can stay in the same spot as well. And start off by spreading those left toes out, lowering them with a little distance in between. And then come onto the right tippy toes and open the right knee towards the right. So you can stay right here for your tree pose, or if you like, you can connect the right heel to the left ankle, maybe the foot to the calf, and maybe the foot to the inner leg. And generally, we avoid the knee if there's sensitivity there, but just listen to your body. Notice where your weight is here. See if you can keep that standing leg strong. It might even help to imagine that you're pushing that left leg into the right foot. Hands can be in prayer. They can reach towards the ceiling. You can have them out to your sides if that helps with balance. It helps to keep a gaze point, so something steady to look at. And then make sure you're breathing deeply. Awesome. The next time you inhale, lift the right knee to center. And then with your exhale, step it about halfway up the mat. And then we'll come to balance on the right foot so you can lift and spread those toes out, lower them a little distance, and then lift the left knee up to center. And take a moment to find your weight here. And then we're going to take a figure four shape so you can cross the left ankle over the right knee and then start to bend into that right knee, sinking the hips back in space. If this doesn't work, then you're welcome to come to chair instead, or you could cross ankle to ankle if that feels better. Find a depth that feels appropriate, somewhere that you can still breathe. And sometimes the face gets a little tense in this one, so see if you can soften it if that's happening to you. Breathe here. When you're ready with an inhale breath, come on up, bring the left knee with you, and then step that left foot towards the top of the mat. I'm finding the last balance pose now. We're going to set up for half moon. So you can start to reach the left hand down to find your block. You'll set it up roughly in front of the left foot, maybe by about a foot and a half. And then start to ground down into the left hand and the left foot. As you lift the right leg up behind you, open up to stack the right hip on top of the left. Just like that side plank earlier, keep the leg strong regardless of how high it is, like the foot stomping the wall behind. The right hand can stay at the hip or reach up towards the ceiling. Breathe into your shape. And stay here for one last inhale. And with your exhale, slowly lower that right foot all the way to the back of the mat. And then we'll pivot the feet towards the right to set up for a wide-legged fold. If you like to have your other block nearby, if the floor is a little far away, you can do that. You can stay in a halfway lift. Find the angle for the right feet, or for both feet, that feels the most comfortable here. So maybe turn slightly in or slightly out. Listen to your hips as well. And you can stay in your halfway lift, or when you're ready, you can hinge and fold over the legs. And see if there's anything you'd like to add on here. Maybe a bind, maybe a little movement. Be wherever you need to be. And from your fold, you can come back to your halfway lift as you're ready. And then turn the toes towards the top. Start to walk the hands towards the top. And we'll step back for downward facing dog. We'll pause here for about 8 breaths, so you can stay in down dog. You can find child's pose. Or if you'd like to come for a flow, with an inhale, shift forward to plank pose. With your exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Maybe a couple rounds of cobra. And when you're ready, you can make your way back to downward facing dog. Meeting back in down dog when you're ready to move on from here. And take a deep inhale through the nose and a deep sigh. And again, inhale. One more. Inhale, bend the knees. And with your exhale, hands towards the back of the mat, find your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And fold. Twice more. Last one. Strong belly, flat back. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach the arms up. If you're lightheaded, stay here. When you're ready, release to your mountain pose. Adjust anything that you need, and then come and find your stillness. Maybe even close down the eyes for a few deep breaths. And take that scan through the body just to notice here. When you're ready, fluttering open the eyes, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Setting for the first shape so you can lift and spread those right toes out and come onto the left tippy toes, left knee towards the left. And stay here, connect to the ankle, the calf, maybe the inner thigh. Again, keep that right leg strong, foot pressing to the floor, leg pressing into the left foot. Mirror whatever expression you did on the first side, and breathe here. All right, keep that right foot pressing down. Inhale, lift the left knee to center, and then step the left foot about halfway up the mat. Lift and spread the left toes, lower them with a little space, ground down, and then shift your weight, lift the right knee to center. We'll cross the right ankle over the left knee, and then start to bend the left knee and sink the hips back. Just like the figure 4 we did from the back, find a depth that feels appropriate. If you need to flex the right foot to keep the right knee feeling steady, then go for it. Find your breath here. Inhale, breath, come on up, bring the knee with you. And then we'll step the right foot near the top of the mat, setting for the lash shape so you can reach down, find your block with the right hand. And setting for half moon, start to transfer your weight to the right foot, to the right hand. When you find it, start to lift that left leg up, stacking left hip on top of right. Left foot stays strong here. Maybe left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Soften anything you don't need. It might just be the face. And make sure you're breathing in your shape. All right, stay for a last inhale. Exhale, lower the left foot to the back of the mat and parallel the feet. We'll set up for the forward fold once again. If there's anything you need to adjust in your stance, then go for it. If you need to stay in a halfway lift or even come to standing, then go for it. Otherwise, let the spine hang heavy here. Any arm expression that feels good. If you're happy here, you can stay. Otherwise, for a little more side stretching, you can come to a halfway lift shape, maybe using your prop or fingertips to the floor, and then start to walk both your hands towards that left foot. If you want, you can connect one or both hands to that left leg, and then think about folding over that left leg any amount. Mindful of what's happening in the pelvis, keeping things roughly even side to side. So if it feels like all the weight is in the right foot now, then maybe press that right foot to the floor as well. And gently release this side. Come back to center, halfway lift, and then walk the hands over towards the right foot, connecting to the right leg any way you like, folding over it. Mindful of the hips here once again. If one side feels like it's dropping, see what you can adjust to make it feel more even. You might even imagine lowering that inner right thigh towards the floor a little bit. See what that feels like. Gently release. Coming back to center, wherever you are, find your halfway lift. And then heel toe the feet a little bit closer together. We'll head towards a squat. So when you're ready, you can point the knees and the toes out, start to sink the hips towards the floor. If you like to make yourself a little seat, then go for it. Hands can stay down or maybe hands to prayer. And see if any part of the body needs a little more support here. You can add in props. You might press the knees into the elbows a little bit to help stabilize the pelvis. Maybe close down the eyes. As you feel ready, release one hand behind you, then the other. Lower the hips to the floor and give the knees a little windshield wiper side to side. And when you're ready, you can swing the legs forward. Have your props nearby just for when we need them next. Feet flat to the floor to begin with. You can scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way to connect the sit bones. And take a moment to lengthen the spine here. Hands can be to the knees or behind them. And you can come to tippy toe or think about lifting the shins parallel to the floor for boat pose. You can keep holding on with the arms or you can release for more challenge. And find that length from the tailbone to the crown. Space for the chest, a little softness in the shoulders, softness in the face. Breathe here. All right. Gently lower the feet to the floor. Bring the chest to the thighs. Wrap the arms around the knees. You can separate the feet a little wider as well. And give yourself a gentle rock side to side. And as you're ready, come on up. And we'll lower all the way down to the back. Awesome. Setting the feet up roughly underneath the knees. Take the elbows by the ribs and the fingertips towards the ceiling. And press the shoulders and the elbows to the floor. And press the feet to the floor. And with an inhale, start to lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Finding your expression of bridge pose, you can stay right here. If you want to walk the shoulders together so you can interlace the hands, then go for it. And keep the feet actively pressing to the floor. Maybe the chin lifts a little if you need a little more space to breathe. And you can stay here for maybe up to 5 more breaths. And when you feel ready to come out the way you came in, so you can release shoulders first. And gently lower the spine down. And take the feet a little wider apart. Rest the knees in together. Maybe hands on the body somewhere. And breathe here. In a moment, we'll set up for a second round of back bend. So if you like, you can find the exact same expression, like an active bridge pose. Otherwise, I'm going to talk through a front body stretch. So if you want to come with me, then have your blocks nearby. We'll start off the same way. So either way, you can lift the hips up. And if you're coming with me, you can slide 1 or 2 blocks underneath the pelvis. Find a place that feels steady, that it's not digging into your spine. So for restorative bridge pose, you can stay right here. Maybe the arms by your sides on the mat. If you like to find the expression with the legs extended, then go for it. And be wherever you need to be for today. If you're in restorative bridge and you'd like to stay a little while longer, you're welcome to. Otherwise, as you're ready to come out, if your legs are extended, you can rebend them slowly, lifting the hips just enough to move your props out of the way. And then taking the feet wide, resting the knees together, pausing here, letting the spine readjust. As you feel ready, if you're using blocks, you can take them over to the right, one or both. And scoot the hips over towards the left and then extend the right leg long. And setting for a twist here so you can start to guide that left knee across the body, maybe landing it on the blocks for support, or if you need something under that left shoulder, then feel free to add that in as well. You can stay right here, or if you like a quad stretch as well, you can think about bending the right knee. Maybe you can reach down that left hand to catch the foot. Find your version of a twist. So if you'd rather even be in a traditional kind of two knees together twist, then go for it. If you like to take the gaze down towards the left, just to twist a little further up the spine, then feel free to add that in. If you have the right foot, you can release that first and gently unravel the left leg to center. And scooting the hips to midline, and if the props were handy on the first side, you can take them over to the left. And then scooting the hips over towards the right, extending the left leg long, and guiding that right leg across the body. Landing it on your props. You can stay with this version of a twist or any other. And if you did so on the right side, think about reaching down now for that left foot, finding your quad stretch as well. Maybe gaze down towards the right. Find your breath. When you feel ready to release, you can let go of that left foot and gently unravel. Hips to midline, maybe feet wide and knees together, or a gentle windshield wiper side to side to release. You can keep windshield wiper going, or you could bring the knees up towards the chest, maybe a knee in each hand, and you can circle the legs a few times in each direction. And then if your body's asking for anything else here, feel free to find any last shape or movement. Otherwise, when you're ready, you can come to set up for Shavasana. And for Shavasana today, choose any comfortable symmetrical shape for the body. Maybe legs extended. You could come back to butterfly. If you need to add any props in, something as a pillow or maybe a prop under each thigh or each knee. Arms can be extended down or to the sides, hands on the body or to the floor overhead. And if for any reason lying on your back isn't working, maybe choose child's pose or seated meditation. Maybe legs up the wall. Let the body start to feel heavy here. Release your breath to its natural inhale and exhale. And find your rest. Gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. Giving the head a gentle rock side to side. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. And perhaps taking the arms up overhead and finding a full body stretch from the toes to the fingertips. And when you're ready, you can roll yourself down to one side and take a breath or two there. With the support of the hands, making your way up to find any comfortable seated position. Settling the hips, lengthening the spine, softening the shoulders. The hands can rest on the knee or the lap. And taking a moment to check back in with the body, with the breath, and with the mind. You can leave the hands where they've landed or connect them in front of the heart. Maybe bow the chin towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for your yoga practice. My name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy your week.